This is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. We're here on Xbox Series X, taking a look at the updated version of the game. Be sure to like the video, subscribing is great as well. Time to go back to San Andreas, which is obviously one of the most beloved and classic, well, Grand Theft Auto games. So with this update, they've actually gone and improved, fixed the lighting. The traditional visual aesthetic is back, and you can toggle between having those new visuals and also, well, having the traditional stuff. And yeah, it's kind of great to have these options available, to have that original vision restored, and to also have kind of the newer way to look at it too, depending on your interests. So if you're like revisiting it, you could be like, oh yeah, this is what I remember, but now it just looks way better and runs better and, you know, is clean and upgraded and everything like that. Or if you're a new player, you could be like, oh, you know, this is how this game should look in the modern era. So we're on the fidelity mode right now. There's two graphical options. So for fidelity, it's like a 4K, it's dynamic, it's like 1900p. 30 FPS, there's HDR support, and then at any point you can switch over to the performance mode, which is kind of what I prefer. And then here for classic lighting, you can have that on or off. Lens flare, oh, we want the lens flare. Let's get the lens flare on. So we're going to turn off the classic lighting so you can see what the new lighting is. So immediately you'll notice the increase in frame rate. It's very, very visible, and the fluidity level increases greatly very quickly, which is awesome. And yeah, so for this mode, it's 1800p, but it's 60 FPS, and you can immediately just, like, you know, this looks way better. This truck kind of sucks, so we're just gonna pop out of that and kind of take a look at things. But this is the modern lighting, which I do actually give some, you know, applause to, because it does modernize the look and the aesthetic of it. But it's not the original game that you kind of would remember it being, and that's why you have the classic lighting on, so you get that like cyan kind of bluish haze sort of thing going on. Like it completely changes the visual vibe of this experience. Did I cause this pile up? And it's very interesting to see this kind of going here. So I would now consider this game to be fixed, quote unquote. I don't know if it's still like got like a weird kind of performance thing to it as well, but anyways, they've restored the original vision and style for the game, so you can enjoy it basically like how it was intended to be enjoyed in terms of like visuals and style, or you can enjoy it with those new bopped up things. So yeah, the choice is really up to you, and it's just great to see that they finally did fix this so many years on. I honestly can't believe it's been, you know, this long, but yeah, they finally went and upgraded the game and brought it to a good level of quality that I think people that are fans of, well, this experience can appreciate. Now, they're still like popping and stuff like that, but you know, it's just a lot better, and I think this is about as peak as we're gonna get, unless they do another remastering remake someday down the road, which I doubt they will want to, considering, well, doubt they'll want to do anytime soon, considering the state of everything here, you know what I mean? So it is interesting that this is finally good. We're finally, like, tolerable for people that, you know, enjoyed that original version. So 5 years ago, Carl Johnson, CJ, you know, Carl CJ Johnson, a lot of people just call him CJ, escaped the haze of Los Santos, San Andreas, a city tearing itself apart with gang troubles, drugs, and corruption. It's now the 90s. CJ's got to go home. His mama's been murdered. His family's fallen apart. His childhood friends are all headed towards disaster. What is going to happen? Oh no, here we go again. A couple of cops frame him for a homicide. He has to go on a journey across the entire state of San Andreas to save his family, take control of the streets. In this next iteration of the series, that changed everything. What? No way. I know, right? Absolutely crazy. So here's like the new lighting style. See, I think there is, to some degree, value in having like that new look. I know it's not exactly the original version, but it is interpretation too, right? How you would perceive something versus what the original devs intended the game to look like, or maybe even just not having the tech to really make the lighting in the game look like how they really wanted it to look. And there's all this stuff whenever we come and revisit these games. There's always complaints, there are always things people expect, and you know, you gotta think of it too from the perspective of this one being such a beloved game, where you can kind of appreciate why some people would want at least the option to experience the game how they kind of feel it was meant to be experienced. And it is interesting too, just really when I'm going back and taking a look at this trilogy overall, to kind of get the vibe where you can sort of see how Grand Theft Auto really just loves to sort of like retread certain like cities. They specifically do the cities they love and know over and over again, which is fascinating. It's just the gap of time nowadays is so ridiculous. I said this in my other videos, and there's videos for each of the games from this trilogy pack all running and updated in case you want to see what they look like. And I said that in those videos too, where I'm kind of sitting there being like, you know, it would have been neat had they done more entries around this time, because I'm assuming they would have picked more unique cities and locations for us to visit. Because now we're sort of stuck in that loop of San Andreas and area, Liberty City, and then Vice. Obviously, with Vice being the upcoming one, and, you know, Forehead, Liberty, and... Anyways, you get what I'm saying, where it is interesting that we're kind of locked into these specific cities, especially with how long it takes to develop these games. It takes way too long nowadays, and it's a shame, because it'd be fun to have, like, these little adventures. Like, it must have been... Like, I'm trying to remember back then, it must have been pretty crazy. Just that feeling and vibe of being like, oh, Grand Theft Auto, love that game. Bam, another one. Like, literally right beside the other one and being like, oh, another one. It's like, oh, I love these Grand Theft Auto games. They're just popping out left, right, and center. And nowadays, it's like decade and a half waiting for a new one. It's a little ridiculous. The well-stacked Pizza Co. I also love the satirical elements of the Grand Theft Auto games. They're very, very interesting to me. The comedy of it all is fantastic. Like, I kind of just mess around in these games, but I do know, like, there's full story stuff, right? Like, you can actually go about and enjoy a full narrative here, right? The choice is really up to you and how you want to kind of play it and how you want to see things. And then you get all these adjustments you can make for lighting and blur and all that, and gameplay adjustments. Like, they do a pretty good job just giving you a wide scope of things. And it's just, like, it is genuinely a shame that this package launched the way it did, because these are such classic games, and a lot of people, this, you know, they might know Grand Theft Auto for the new stuff, and this could very well... Hey, stay away from my cash. This may very well be their first time, you know, playing Grand Theft Auto, like the older ones, and they might want to see what those are like. And it's just, like, really hard for them to enjoy and appreciate the styling of Grand Theft Auto back in the day with these great classic games with these exciting stories and excellent characters and silly moments and fun stuff, if they don't, you know, run well, they don't look good, they're not what they're supposed to be. So I am very appreciative that they actually did, you know, take the time eventually after so long to finally come in here and right things. That's the biggest thing here, is righting the wrongs, as to say, and making the games look proper. And I would say, well, San Andreas, I believe, usually gets the most attention. I would still highly recommend checking out 3 and Vice City, because I think they're very, very cool games. I mean, you get them as like a package, right? So it's like a combo thing. They're all properly done, and they all have their own vibes to them as well. Like, it's still the original game, it's the original style that you might have fallen in love with, or if you're younger, looking at being like, oh, this looks ancient, but, you know, these are classic games for a reason, and they all kind of hold up in their own special and unique ways. And I think that kind of makes them fun too. And just also on top of like the elements of talking about you know, the specialness of these games, but like each of the settings does, what is with this bike? It's like I want to go straight and it's just keeps trying to like twirl me around. Like there is value in going and taking a look at the different entries because they all have like a little bit of a different vibe to them, whether that's like, you know, the types of like officers you have, the types of stuff you see in the cities, because they're obviously all based on certain, you know, environments in different places, and those all in real life they'll have their different areas, and you just get to kind of see a different bit of an approach with that, with this being, you know, a unique area. It's got quite a look with the lighting, right? Like, it's kind of funny. I get that people, they really wanted this styling. Is this, I'm trying to think of this, the comparison of this to the, you know, GTA like 5 and stuff, and, you know, the areas and that. It's just, it's neat, the evolution of it, and then I'm sure the next time we come back here, it'll be even more of a ridiculously dense, realistic city. Who knows how old I'll be there, or even if I'll be around at that time. Or maybe they'll go wild and do something new. That would be cool. Yeah. It would actually be pretty cool to see something new from Rockstar, considering, you know, like, you gotta remember they were doing these games, but they were also, like, literally doing new IPs and different IPs at the time. They were, like, pumping out games, but nowadays it's just impossible to get games out the door like that, which is such a shame because, well, I miss having games quickly from different companies that we love because there was always such unique experiences. Kind of tired of the sirens, it's getting on my nerves. Ow! But yeah, I think you can really enjoy these games at this current point in time. I think you'll be very appreciative of the upgrades. Or technically the D upgrades if you think about like having the old school green lighting from a certain point of view, but for the original people that love them, they're like, hey, wait a sec, this isn't right, or like there were a lot of problems with this. My big thing, I wouldn't necessarily even stylistically complain to the degree that others would, but for me it was really the performance and stuff, and like the certain like bugs and that. It's like it's hard to, it's weird to bring back something and somehow make it worse. Like I know we had the, like on Xbox we had the luxury of San Andreas being backwards compatible if you had like a copy, and it would download like this mobile version of the game, which was, you know, not the greatest, but like, you know, it's just weird to bring something back and not be upgrading it. You know, you should be, the goal should be to at least the bare minimum return it to what it was, and in a better case make it better. Am I gonna make that, or oh no, I did it. Good. You know, I was kind of worried for a second there, because I was kind of like, ooh, am I, like, sketching to the side a little bit too much? But no, I got it. Nice. Nice. And it really is, too, also, like, the cultures of the era as well are really cool, because, you know, these are, like, little time period games. That is one cool tractor there, miss. She is rocking that. I say that, like, this one being the 90s, and then, what is it, Vice is like 80s, and you get different eras, which to me is kind of exciting, so it's like a little bit of a different vibe, and, you know, like the pop culture of the area is a little different too, and it's really neat. This pop-in is atrocious, but, you know, you get what you get. It really is a bad pop-in, but probably just how the game runs or whatever. I'm not going to complain about it because it's a lot better of a state than what we were dealing with for things. Just gonna mow you down. Taking you out across town. Yeah, we reverse hitting these guys. I think San Andreas is usually the well-loved one of this one. I do remember, like, you play it right, and then the amount of, like, work people would do to play these games back when I was younger, too. Like, I remember being in school, and people would, like, have this game on, like, a USB, and they'd be playing it on, like, controllers and stuff, but that was a lot harder to do back, back when I was in school, because that was a long, long time ago. Very, very, very long time ago. I need a car! I need a car, the police are after me. Does anybody have a weapon? Like well, not a weapon, like a vehicle, though? Oh, perfect, a taxi. Oh, never mind. I thought I was gonna make it. I thought I was gonna make it. I don't know if it's because, like, the voice cast for this one, or just, like, the general story or the setting really makes this one resonate for people so much, or maybe they just kind of, like, fully... Because it's, like, there was the transition to 3D, which was a big deal, and, you know, we got Vice, and we got San Andreas, but maybe this was just, like, sort of them really perfecting that style. Like, you do feel like you're in, like, a full city. I know the visuals are kind of, like... maybe to a degree a little, like, silly to people looking at it from a modern lens, but try to think of it from when this actually came out and be like, wow, you're moving around in a fully realized city, doing stuff and interacting with things and, you know, being a monster, I guess, for the most part. I mean, like, you could play it a little not like this, but yeah, and then it being a mature adult game, and yeah, Rockstar, they had it really special back in the day, you know what I mean? Like, they were serving that mature angle, but also with a level of satirical play and commentary on the US and stuff like that. I always thought it would be kind of neat to see them kind of, like, try, like, Grand Theft Auto, but, like, in a different country or something would be fascinating, but obviously with the amount of time you have to wait between entries, it's just let them do what they're doing. And it's nice to have these all bumped up, and, you know, you can kind of revisit them and prepare for what comes next and be all excited and amped up about that. And in San Andreas, that's, to me, that's really cool. Cops don't even care. I'm just causing these huge collisions. They're just like, whatever. Just living your life. Can I get out of here? Get out of this car. Get out of here. I was kind of hoping some more chaotic destruction would happen, but I guess not. I love how they present themselves, the ladies. The ladies of the night. You didn't see nothing, cop. She started it. She started it. She's not even, like, dying. Watch this cop die faster than she died. No, everyone's just taking all the damage in the world today. Aha! Now I got you. She had some stacks on her, too. The classic thing. Beat up the lady, take the money, run. There's a lot more to it, story-wise, but, you know, kind of the fun gameplay loop if you're just messing around and not really trying to care about the story like I am, because, I mean, I'm just kind of doing gameplay of it, but I think this looks really good now. Like, I would have been floored if the graphics had been, like, at the time the graphics were impressive, but I would have been floored if the game actually had looked like this back then. It would have been like, holy. I do ponder if they'll ever remake it, as to say, these games, but I mean, like, I guess the newer ones are essentially like reimaginings with their different characters and different setups and different scenarios. I don't know. It's always fun to dive back into San Andreas. Let's put it that way. It's definitely something to revisit every time when it comes to Grand Theft Auto stuff. I'm sure at some point, if we ever do get another Xbox, it'll be like, I'll have a Grand Theft Auto, like, day. It'll just be like pumping out all the Grand Theft Auto stuff to revisit them. But I don't know. I think at this point, though, it's a pretty safe way to enjoy and revisit a classic 90s era set game, which is kind of cool. I was just thinking about that for Black Ops 6 there. 90s era set games. Cool.